Hey, thank you, gang. Okay, Legs, thank
Absolutely.
you for waiting patiently. Go ahead, Legs.
Yeah, so there was a couple things, but we can just focus on like one thing at a time. We can. I don't know exactly what the original topic is. It's too small for me to read, so I apologize. But
The basically the man. I don't know if you had the opportunity to hear the audio, but basically the man in the audio was attributing the amount of black men being down low black men to black women not providing a safe space for men, and basically not acknowledging and being accepting of bisexual men. So yeah, that's basically what he was saying in the audio.
yeah, I heard you when you played the audio. I heard it. I
Okay.
meant like the topic behind your head. I can't read. But yeah, so one of the bigger reasons as to why I wanted to touch on a couple things. One of the bigger reasons as to why gay men, especially in the black community, tend to hide their queerness is because of the stigmas that they get from society and the systemic oppressions that it adds being queer. If you can hide something about like your systemic oppression, like you tend to do it. It's the same thing we see with like a lot of no offense to anyone on the panel or whoever else, but like it's the same thing that we see with a lot of light skinned people who either don't claim blackness or try and move away from blackness as much as they possibly can because that is something that brings forth like oppressions, and they don't want to acknowledge that. But when it comes down to it, those oppressions like hurt your life. Like you can lose your like at certain points in history, you could lose your job for being gay. I still actually think that that's a thing. Like you can actually lose your job for being gay in like most at will states, because at will states tend to be like what an at will state is basically your employer can let you go regardless of the reason. And if your employer finds out that you're gay and they don't like that, they could just let you go. So the safe space that within this systemic oppression, I said all this to say this, within those oppressions, like women don't have like a lot of power per se, especially black women within these positions to give like systemic oppressions towards men. When it comes to like interpersonal oppressions towards gay men, it would be I would 100% agree with Jones, and I would 100% agree with I don't even know how to say your name, Khalees, and
Yeah,
Jonty.
Khalees.
Yeah, I would
Host,
100%
host,
because it.
host. Can you let up PR Fred 37? That's old girl that want to come in before.
Okay, okay. I'm
I
trying.
can
I'm trying to
I
fix.
can hop down too
I'm
if
trying to
somebody
fix.
needs to come up.
No, 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 no. You don't have to drop down.
Okay,
I'm
okay.
trying to fix. I'm trying to fix the panel layout right now for it to like allow 9 people. Go. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Watch my legs. Go ahead.
You're good. But I would agree with Khalees Jones and Jonty and say that it's absolutely a part of toxic masculinity and upholding those behavioral traits that men are supposed to do certain things. Because at the end of the day, homophobia is 100% just rooted in misogyny. That a man is not supposed to act a certain way because if a man acts these ways, then he can't possibly be like the right kind of man. He can't possibly protect his family. He can't possibly bring home the bacon. He can't possibly like do the things that quote unquote men are supposed to do. And I find that to be ridiculous, but in a sense, it kind of is a self fulfilling prophecy because, again, in at will states, if you're gay, you can be fired. And so you can't bring home the bacon. And so they have to hide these things away from themselves. And women have to also, not necessarily have to, but women tend to find themselves into this like pattern of abuse because abused people abuse people. That's where the hurt people come from. Abuse people. So like when we uphold these standards, like Junti said, everyone has a little bit of homophobia. Everyone has a little bit of misogyny. Everyone has a little bit of toxic masculinity in them. Like the things that we uphold for black men in particular. One of the things that we don't even think of that is like mad homophobic is like boys aren't supposed to cry. That's not just simple toxic masculinity. That is literally a point in which like we allow black women to cry because it's seen as a feminine trait. So when black men cry or black boys cry, we look at them as feminine. And thus for you're not going to grow up the way that you're supposed to grow up and bring home the bacon and protect your family and do everything that it is that you're supposed to do. You're going to grow up gay. You can't wear pink because you're going to grow up gay. You can't do whatever it is that I think is gay because you're going to grow up and be gay. And gay means you can't do these things. You can't be the man that you're supposed to be. And that's harmful and it's ridiculous. But that's where it's definitely rooted in. And so to put the blame on Black women for upholding these systems, I think there is no critique of Black women without first critiquing Black men, because Black men created these environments that women have to survive in.
Church.
Go ahead, Leg. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, OG. Go ahead.
So he said that
E.
what is it?
Yeah, real quick. My
I'm
pronouns
sorry.
are
My apologies.
You're good. You're good.
I'm an old man. You have to excuse me. I'm not up on the pronoun game, but you have to excuse me. Listen, but
We learned pronouns in elementary school. I thought you was
No,
the
he's
encyclopedia.
cool. Jones,
listen,
he's cool. You didn't know.
it got a little while on me, baby. I'm sorry. You gotta excuse me. It got a little while on me lately. I'm trying to catch up. But I wanted to speak to what she was saying when she was addressing the homophobic as far as Black men. And see what people do a lot of times, they say that the homophobia of Black men is rooted in misogyny. But the technical definition of misogyny is the man's hatred for a woman. So how can a man's hatred for a woman promote homophobia?
Because they see those as feminine qualities, friend.
Yeah, I
Let's
was about to say
explain that. And I explained it earlier.
You guys don't look at queer men as men. You guys look at them as feminine beings, and
No,
only
we
as
look at
feminine
you as
beings.
men acting like women.
No, as a
But that's not
You
what
just
it
made our
is.
He's literally
point.
just
Thank
repeat.
you.
Wow.
Time out,
I
real
appreciate
quick.
you, OG.
Because
Thank
that's
you, bro.
but I will answer the
Listen,
question because that's the whole thing. It's
Educate
That's
me.
all, folks.
Hold up,
Educate me.
John T, real quick, because he did say something that's exactly what it is. Like, you do look at them as men, but you're looking at their actions as womanly actions, and those actions are what you look at as like not equal. Like you
And
disrespect them through those actions, saying that those actions are less than.
and I think a lot of times we take that out of proportion. Right now, we don't tell young boys that they can't cry because we think they're gonna grow up to be gay. And see, I think a lot of times people
No, that's
confuse masculine and feminine energy with gender. And that's not
no.
the case all the time.
I don't think that's true though. I because when people talk about these things, that's exactly what they say. Like, I've had
No,
friends.
no,
No,
no.
I've
I
legitimately
I
had
think when a
friends who
little
said
boy cries in certain instances and his father's telling him stop crying because you acting like a girl, I think in
that's
essence what
exactly what I
he's telling
mean.
him is that you're not displaying masculine energy as opposed to feminine energy.
Right, but what is
Masculine energy and feminine energy has nothing to do with gender. All Both men and women both possess masculine and feminine energy.
okay? Yes, but what we're saying is that, like, when you look at a gay man, do you look at him as producing masculine or feminine energy?
Neither, because I don't really,
I would
like my
like
I
brother
mean, I
was
mean, like,
saying,
not you in
it's
legs,
just
particular.
an
Like,
incident.
seriously.
legs. I would like to answer that
Granted,
question
it's
as the
Go ahead.
heterosexual
Hold
man.
on, Noble. With all due respect, can we pause for just a second? And Khalees said that he was willing to drop down, and Jaden has been asking to come up for a while. I'm not telling you how to run your platform.
Okay.
If you don't want, if that you don't want to do that, I'll remove myself.
No.
But okay.
Hey, gang, do you mind dropping down?
yeah, I'm good.
All right.
I did want to make
Yeah, go
one
ahead.
point really quick. OG has said something about masculine and feminine energy. And maybe I misunderstood, but it's plenty of gay men that you would consider whatever society's perception of masculine is. Like,
Facts.
that's so that's something that's been dispelled. Like, it is
Facts.
no. But yeah, this was a great discussion, and I hope everybody learns from it. Thanks for having me up.
Some of the most
Yeah.
masculine men that
Love,
you
bro.
know are power bottoms. I repeat, some of the most
Khalees,
masculine
I
men you
followed you,
know.
fam.
I'm just saying.
Khalees,
But
peace,
gang,
bro.
Masculine
before
men
you
you
drop,
know are power bottoms, respectfully.
I do want to answer legs. I do want to answer your question as a heterosexual man. So when you asked OG, do you see gay men as being more feminine? That was basically what you asked, right?
Yeah, but can I clarify just real quick? Just
Yeah,
two
yeah,
second
yeah.
clarification.
Go ahead, go ahead, go
What
ahead.
I meant, to also to you and to Storm, I meant to ask this question as like a generalization of what the black community tends to look at gay black men as. Like if they look at gay black men as presenting masculine energy, like displaying masculine energy or feminine energy, not like you in particular. You might be different.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, Hey, gang, request right back. No, so my answer to your question is because I said this a few days ago, and Genty was here, and we were talking about the same thing, because some heterosexual men were trying to come in. There was a heterosexual. Let me not say some. There was a heterosexual man that was trying to come in here and basically trying to make it seem as if majority of homosexual men present themselves a certain way. And what I told him as a heterosexual man is that in my personal experience, in my anecdotal experience, now not saying my anecdotal experience is indicative of majority of instances, but majority of the men that I know that are homosexual, um, they don't do the whole cross dressing thing. They're not doing the most. They're not wearing nails and things of that nature. So so I say that to say to answer your question, no, I don't automatically as a heterosexual man assume because a man is homosexual that he's more feminine. Because like I said, in my personal experience, I haven't been around a lot of homosexual men that operate in that manner or even present themselves in that manner. So that's my answer to your question.
And
Right.
can I
No, but
piggyback off that with you real quick, Noble? Um, I worked with a gentleman back in the day. I was a sous chef in a restaurant. In my younger days, I used to work in a restaurant, and I worked with a gentleman that was gay. And this guy was an ex-Marine. I mean, clean cut guy, real handsome guy. Women would swoon over this man. Deep voice like Barry White. Women would swoon over this man, and he was gay. And he told me, he said, Norman, I'm gay, but I present myself as a man. And see, that's why a lot of times in like other people have different perceptions of
of course.
homosexual men than I have personally, because I've been around homosexual men who present themselves as men. And you know what I'm saying? I understand that they are gay men who can still be masculine. I do understand that,
Absolutely.
Brent.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But
100%.
again, I want again for you and the host, I want to ask y'all like because this question was colloquially like you might look at it differently, sure, but I wasn't asking for like your view of it. I'm asking for the societal view of gay men. Does the societal view of gay men and within the black community, does the societal view of gay men like have gay men like the caricatures of gay men, are they masculine or do they have feminine, quote unquote, feminine energy?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Well,
Listen,
of
listen.
course, the
I'm
characters
not
are
this.
overtly,
I'm not a
are
disingenuous
overtly,
person.
yeah,
So
Right.
just to
overtly
answer your
feminine.
question, majority of black men are going to associate that homosexual black man with having more feminine characteristics.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Absolutely.
overtly, or
Right.
what we call flamboyant.
Right,
Overtly,
exactly,
overtly.
exactly this.
Hold on,
Thank
Prince
you.
was
So,
flamboyant, and he could take every man's girl in here with
Big,
ease.
yeah, but
big
no,
fact.
that's not the,
One second.
Chauncey, that's not the
One
point.
But
second.
That's not
Prince
the
Big
point.
wasn't a
heterosexual.
homosexual.
But
Legs.
that,
One second. Guys, I don't know what is going on with my live right now. Genty was here. Look, I do have access to the 9 people panel,
They
but
did an
for whatever
update tonight.
reason,
I don't think
They did an
nobody has
update, so
access
they
to it
probably took
anymore.
it back from you, bro. They did that to me
I
before
call it,
too.
oh, is that what they did?
Yeah, they
I
Yeah.
took it
call it,
back from you, bro. You only got
Okay.
6 for right
Okay.
now.
Hey, but look, guys, listen.
I'm
I
sorry,
am
legs.
going
My
to leave.
bad.
I am
you're good,
going
you're
to
good.
leave Storm and Genty and Jones up here. Jaden, I'm gonna bring you up right now, but I wasn't even aware of that. So sorry to everyone in the box. I'm gonna try to get you guys up here. But I guess according to Genty and Jones, we don't have 9 people panel access anymore. But I'm gonna bring Jaden. I'm gonna bring you up right now. Go ahead, Legs.
Yeah, so I was saying, well, first let me say the thing about the panel. I like to call it, since you don't have access to 9 anymore, I like to call it digital
There we go.
redlining. But the Point here is that like when we're talking about misogyny, because that's what we're talking about, like how homophobia is tied into misogyny. That's how, because most people, especially men within the black community, view gay people as quote unquote effeminate, and they say that disrespectfully. They mean effeminate in a derogatory way, and that's how
But
it's tied
but
to misogyny.
but see, that's what I'm saying. When you say effeminate could apply to a man acting effeminate or a woman acting effeminate.
Right.
The straight up definition of misogyny is a man's hate for a woman.
Yes, but the actions of misogyny go like how it applies in the real world, like apply to that. Because when you're looking at a man's actions as effeminate, you say that in a derogatory way. They don't make caricatures of gay men to be respectful to gay men.
But we just established in the real world all gay men aren't those characters. That's
Yes,
just like
no,
Lord have
we
they
mercy.
make
that's
characters of
understandable.
straight
Oh my
black
God.
men being gun
Uncle
toting
Norm.
gangsters with their pants hanging off their ass.
Absolutely.
That's
Uncle
not
You're
Norm.
all of
Uncle
missing the
them.
Norm.
point.
Uncle Norm. I'm
You're
not
missing the
talking about
point.
you. I'm not talking about you.
Okay, okay.
I'm talking about the society as a whole.
I understand what you're saying.
Right. But do we understand, like, when you look at a man's actions, to call a man's actions effeminate, like when most people do it, to call a man's actions effeminate, especially within the black community, it's meant to be disrespectful.
I can agree to that. As a heterosexual, I'm not disingenuous. I can agree to that.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. That's how it's tied into misogyny. I just
But,
wanted to answer
okay,
the question.
one quick thing though, Legs. One quick thing. Um, and I'm look. I have my anecdotal experience. I'm asking you a genuine question. Um, is someone really wrong in whether it's an assumption, whether they're going off their anecdotal experience? Is a man or woman really wrong assuming that most gay men have feminine characteristics?
Of
Honestly,
course they're wrong.
It's wrong in the sense of, like, in the ways that they do it. Number one, let me say this: there's nothing wrong with having quote unquote feminine energy or whatever else it may
right,
be. The
right.
issue here is what we're talking about is that it's tied into misogyny, and men don't look at women as evenly as they look at men. Like, they don't look at women on the same playing field, because we have a patriarchal society in which oppresses
No, that's
women.
because men
Hold
and
on, wait,
women
wait,
don't
wait, 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 wait,
occupy
wait.
the
OG, let her
same.
finish. Let her finish. Let her finish. Go ahead. Go ahead, Legs. Go ahead.
Yeah, so but we have a patriarchal society that oppresses women. But to like when they look at when they look at gay men, the reason as to why it's disrespectful to call a gay man effeminate is because of that misogyny, because of that patriarchal society. You're saying that that man is less than you because you act masculine, which is up here. They act feminine, which is down there. And when you say like most gay men act feminine, you're not just saying most gay men act flamboyant and it's okay to be flamboyant. Like, you're saying most gay men act flamboyant and thus for most gay men are underneath me.
And if I
Okay,
may,
legs. With all due respect, as a heterosexual man, I'm not going to agree with you when you say that they're doing that in the they're doing that in the manner of this man is less than or underneath me. I'm here in Minneapolis. Listen, I've been around a lot of homosexual men, and listen, I'm only speaking for myself. And again, I'm not saying my anecdotal experience. I'm not saying how I feel is indicative of most black men, but I at least the black men that I've been around, it hasn't been a thing of you're
Right.
underneath me or you're less than.
Right,
I
Noble.
I can't agree
You're
with you on that.
speaking from opinion though. She is speaking facts. You can't argue with facts.
Can I
These are facts that she is
Fa-
speaking on.
Facts
can I
yeah,
give
backed
a
up by
small
what?
example?
Oh,
if I may,
I would love to answer that question really quickly. And
Go
this
ahead,
is
Yeah,
how
Legs.
you
Noble.
know that anybody hasn't read, you know what I'm saying, like any type of revolutionary literature of any kind. Like if you read on Audre Lorde or Kimberly Crenshaw or Angela Davis, like you would know all of these things. These wouldn't be things that we would literally have to be sitting here explaining.
Can I give a small example real quick?
Is that Jaden or is that Legs
This is
talking?
Lex. I'm gonna
Y'all
give this
jump in
one.
after
Oh,
that.
go ahead, Legs.
Yeah, I do want Jaden to
Bell
speak. I'm
hooks,
sorry, Jaden.
correct?
I've been
Bell
like
hooks. Sorry.
taking
You're
over
good.
this. Yeah, Bell Hook is amazing. I'm sorry, Jaden. I've been taking over this conversation
You're
lately, but I
fine.
just wanted to give one example to what the host was talking about, just to put it in perspective. Um, Host, as within the Black community, I'm gonna ask the question first. Within the Black community, do we face racism because of our Black skin?
Of course.
Right. When white people perpetuate racism, like when white people do things that are racist, most of them, do they know that they're doing it?
No, it's insidious.
Exactly. So you can do homophobic things without understanding, like even knowing that you're doing homophobic things.
Absolutely. No, no, no,
So,
no, no, no. Legs. Let me be clear again. And I kind of like I kind of alluded to this when I was speaking with Genty the other day. I'm not disagreeing with you on that, Legs. Like I'm listen, and Genty spoke on this the other day, and he was basically saying that you know a lot of men and women may not even realize how they're being homophobic, and I can 100% agree with him on that. And that as a heterosexual man, even me personally, I may not even realize how there may be homophobic things about me.
mhm.
But at least I'm just speaking for me. I'm not speaking for OG. I'm not speaking for any other heterosexual man or woman in here. But I don't look at heterosexual men as less than or underneath me. I have homosexual.
Homosexual. I
I
know
have
what you mean.
homosexual men in my family. I have homosexual men
Right.
that are
But
my uncles, that are my blood uncles, that are married to men. So I don't
right, but
I personally don't look at them as less than or underneath me. But again,
understandable. I do. We can have that conversation a different day, um, whether or not you do or don't, because it's not even wouldn't be disrespectful. But I again, I'm not talking about y'all in particular. I'm
I know.
talking about the community as a whole. So when you say like people who have gay friends or you've been around people or whatever else, this, that, and the other, and the people you hang around,
Yeah,
like they could be saying things that are homophobic and misogynistic without even realizing that they're being homophobic and
absolutely,
misogynistic.
Yeah.
And
absolutely,
sometimes we have to like look inside ourselves and realize like, oh damn, like what I said is something like I'm looking down on this I didn't even realize I was looking down on this person, but I'm looking down on this person.
absolutely. I agree with you on that, Legs. Hey, yo, Legs. Is there any other last things that you want to say? I appreciate you. I do want to bring Miss Sharice up here. Jetty wants to speak to Miss Sharice. Is there any last things you want to say pertaining to the topic? I appreciate
Correction.
you.
She wants to speak to me because she's obsessed with me.
Okay, she want to speak to
Okay.
Jetty.
No, I'm good. I appreciate y'all for
Can
engaging
you
in good
touch on the
faith.
socialism aspect of the civil rights movement before you leave, please?
Yeah, the socialism aspect of the civil, well, number one, socialism isn't bad. Again, it's when workers own the means of production, and the reason for that production is human need. So you produce things for a human need. But the socialist aspect of it, the reason as to why actually that America is so like Red Scare and based within like McCarthyism saying socialism is bad is because the people that wrote about black liberation were socialists. And they weren't even like a lot of them weren't even black. Like the revolution that happened in Cuba because America was perpetuating slavery within Cuba and enslaving black people. And Fidel Castro went to plantations, radicalized black slaves, and uprose against Batista's government and overthrew slavery in Cuba and implemented socialism, which allowed black people to be free. Once Kennedy saw that, he was like, that can't happen anywhere else. And so he told everyone else, we need to stop these things from happening. And that's exactly why we went to Vietnam. If you look at there's a book called On the Black Race that was written by Ho Chi Minh in 1968. When did we go to Vietnam? Like if you look into these things, you can see like these people were talking about like freeing black people, and they were socialists. So like the socialist aspect for like the black liberation movements all around the world have always been like an issue for like the US, and like the socialist talking points and McCarthyism have always been rooted in like white supremacy. And most people who were, I'm going to say most people, but a lot of people who were doing like the civil rights movement like moved towards socialism because they realized this.
They
It's
were
not a
socialists.
bad thing.
including Malcolm X, Fred Hampton, Huey P. Newton, like quite literally all of them.
Even Dr.
When
King.
did Malcolm X become a socialist?
Before he died, he specifically
He,
said that in order
After
for
when
there
he
to be
after he left the Nation of Islam.
correct.
I'm sorry, after he
no,
was expelled from the Nation of Islam. I'm sorry.
no, that's not what happened. He met Fidel Castro. And
Right.
Fidel Castro told him what he had done for black people in
Mhm.
Cuba.
Yeah, because Che Guevara actually went to Africa to try to start a movement in Africa that was similar to the one that happened in Cuba.
Yes, that's true.
Okay. Legs. Thank you so much. Listen, we don't have a I don't have a access to a nine panel
No, you're good. I can hop
yeah,
down. I
9-person
appreciate
panel.
you.
And so I do want to let some other people come up. Okay, thank you, Legs. Jay